podcast you cheer for. Sneaker business talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.
And we're back once again. It's the Soul Material Podcast, the podcast you cheer for. It's T Mark the Street Shark.
And OGO, peace to you.
All right, and we're back with another episode of that sneaker business talk. And this time we just wanted to dive in and just talk about the collaborations. We always peel back the layers over here at the podcast you cheer for, just to make sure that we give you that clarity over popularity, and peel back the layers of, you know, what's going on with it's not even a State of the Union, it's just the evolution of the actual collaborations in the game, because there's so many different types of collaborations when it comes to the retailers, artists, boutiques, and everything else in between. Just wanted to touch base on where we're at, where the marketplace is, tie in some, you know, some of the stories that we've talked about just when it comes to the marketplace. But just wanted to give you a snapshot of where we're at right now with the collaborations. So let's listen up to the OG. He's about to kick us off. Drop some knowledge.
Appreciate it, Sharp. Just going through the evolution of when we started in this game, and we're still at a peak. I don't think we're ever going to drop off or ever quote unquote retire. But it's just gotten interesting to me the past few years of the amount of collaborations that have gone on in all the brands, whether it's Nike, whether it's Saucony, whether it's New Balance, and so forth and so forth. And my concern is that on one end, it's a positive because you have variety. But on the other end, when you are a collector, a sneakerhead, addict, whatever you call yourself, the influx of releases can become very intense as far as the expense in your budget. And I recall back in 91, I was sport car collecting with my aunt. She was really deep into it. Then the 92 draft came and Shaq came, and it changed everything. And you had, you know, a Harold Miner Magic All Rookie Hoops card going for $90, which at that point in time put $90 in 2023 prices. Insane for a basketball card. Shaq came and changed everything. Then 96 came, and here comes the class, which was the class. And within 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, the class, Kobe in particular, it became nuts. Now, post-COVID, during COVID, with sports car collecting, you got the grading and so forth. So I say all that to say that I definitely stopped sport car collecting because it became too expensive and too much of a stressor. And I do not want the collecting of sneakers or the hobby or whatever tier that you are in for you to have that effect. And all the collaborations that don't, we're talking about the artists or the boutiques or the stores, the influence and so forth. But with me personally, it's gotten a little bit too much, in which it takes a whole lot now for me to spend all this money on collaborations. Now it's something I really, really want. And usually with me, start talking about this in probably season 1, to where if I'm a dream about it and I wake back up, it's meant to happen. But my dreams now are coming less and less the past couple of years. And want to get your take on that, because it seems like it's a collaboration, if not every week, every 2 weeks. And depending on the brand that you support or you like or so forth, that could be a whole lot of money spent in a year, man, and a whole lot of credit card swiping and a whole lot of your savings and so forth going towards all these shoe boxes or these bins or these plastic bins being in your closet or your sneaker room or what have you. And I don't think it's going to decrease anytime soon. So I just wanted your take on that, because I'm kind of on overload now with collaborations at this point, Shark. I really am.
Yeah, I admit that there's been an escalator on the collaborations, but it's still not overwhelming from my opinion. I think that when it's been around for such a long time, it's just changing the faces. And then what's happening is that, like I was talking about in the intro, is the layers to it, whether it's either the independent artists. I think some of the artists have changed and they have collaborated differently, just because they've gain more power and traction in the way that they can negotiate their collaboration. So if they can't own their designs and get royalties or whatever, or tell their stories all the way through, then you're not seeing that many, of the collaborators. I would say, like, you look at someone like Salehi Bembury, like
Mhm.
that's like the way that he created his brand, and then he collabs with multiple brands, and then it's like a hit every time. And then someone like Joe Freshgoods, he might do like 4 collabs a year. You know what I'm saying? But like the execution, and then he ties a lot of stuff back to community as well, with some community initiatives. So I think that, again, back into those philanthropic collaborations as well, where it goes back to charity or something good to the community. Those are brands like Curry Brand or whatever. Some of the collaborations that they've done with, like, Diet Starts Monday, and they do things, strategically, but it's such a limited quantity. So, like, that's cool. And then, like, I like some of the wave that of the SB collaborations, because we're getting back into the skate shop, like really being a rush and underground, like that vibe of, lining up and everything like that. I've seen more of that starting to pop off. And then, like, I think Nike was doing some strategic collaborations with those brick and mortars through the skate shops. But then when you get into, like, the retailers, like retail chains, them doing collaborations, that's when it gets a little watered down. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's what, like, if that's not a home run, like, you're always going to be doing stuff with particular brands anyway. So if you're a retail chain, like, I actually like the newer version of the retail chain collab, where it's not centered around one product. So when they do their storytelling, there's a centerpiece to the product, but then, like, you mix in your brand apparel partners, and then you get in on, especially some of the lesser name ones, where you can dictate more of the colorways, and then you can make a collection to go around, with, like, multiple pieces to go around a pair of shoes that you would collab with a particular brand. So I like that style, and it gives you. It's not even about collecting it all. It's about getting your version of it, right? So it's not just a two shirts and 2 pants or something like that, and then, like, everyone has the same fit or whatever. No, you get, like, multiple versions, and then, always love the accessories and different laces and stuff like that. So yeah, collaborations, definitely something that I like seeing in the direction that we're going. But again, you're gonna, in an omni world, what does that look like? Because of the way that you're gonna have to collaborate and tell these stories through these digital platforms, which is actually pretty cool. And then you get into NFTs. You talked about card collecting. Now they're doing NFT collections and everything like that. So it's really getting real sophisticated out there. So but it's more about, again, just like the card collecting and everything, like, you just part of the process, is what you like about it, and you like the art of acquisition. So you get what you get. It's hard to compete, because the last thing I'll say is, some of these brands and these boutiques, they make some of the great collabs, but they're regional, right? So that's what makes it hard to keep up with, because regionally, those brick and mortars should be loyal to their neighborhood consumer, and those are the real ones that you want to cultivate the most. But I shop at many boutiques or whatever around the country, and pick up on some of their sales or whatever. So it's always but some of the collaborations that they pull off, I think, is really cool. And they might not just get the hype beast train behind all of them, but if you're a collector, then you already know that almost every boutique has done some type of collaboration, whether it's sneakers or apparel or Mitchell and Ness or somebody with their local team. Like, I think that's here to stay. And let's keep the party going.
Yeah, because I think that where I eventually was going to was sacrecy versus saturation, and we're from an era in which it was like stash, and you knew when he did something what you were going to get. You knew the color it was going to be, no matter what the style was or the model he was working on. And we are where we are today, and man, it's just gotten a little bit overwhelming because everyone wants to be fresh and everyone wants to be rare, but it comes off across a lot of times in which if you're not a part of that top tier, but like you said, of the popularity, are you really doing it now in the sneaker community? And I know that we're at a point, not only in our age and our maturity, where we are in this game, where we're going to like what we're going to like, we're going to rock what we're going to rock. And if you are unfamiliar, we'll educate you. If you don't like it, so what? I'm wearing it. But it's so much involved with social media and that heart likes button on IG that has driven so much of these collaborations and their popularity. I think that there's been 3 or 4 handfuls of collaborations that have fallen under the radar. That's even a term you can use because of social media and the internet, just because of the lack of the quote unquote popularity or the system that's backing some of these collabs. So
yeah, I mean, like the power, like I talked about Salehi Bembury earlier, like he literally moved the stock ticker on Crocs. Like Crocs made so much money off of his version, and then now they just announced there's going to be a kids line as well. And I know he's doing slides coming up soon, and he definitely does on his imprint. You mentioned Stash, like that's kind of like the new thing, the way his little fingerprint textured print that he finds a way to put on everything that he does. I really think that's kind of the new wave, and he's doing it international with the pop-ups and the installs that they're doing, and just the visuals and the storytelling. And think about all the the mega power of the collab, the people that he has even collaborate in his photo shoots. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just the depth, and he's doing it so quietly and humbly, I feel like, because it's just happening. But it's not like, hey, look over here. It's just like, hey, this is happening over here. I'm doing my thing. And if it's cool and, if you like it, you rock with it, then come on over. Like but see, like, I feel like that's what the essence, and that's what we talk about here at the Soul Material Podcast, of like, just make it your own, and Indeed. Then everyone will gravitate towards what they like out of it, right? So yeah, and then just all of the, like I said, the retailers and those independent boutiques, those are what keep those brands alive, because the big powers, we told you that with the Nikes, they're withdrawing, and they're moving on from the Foot Lockers, and the Shoe Cities have filed for bankruptcy. So like those type of companies, you're gonna have to shift. But at the end of the day, the consumer is still gonna evolve. They're gonna find a way to like what they like. And yeah, again, not everyone can shadow and then just be, the clones like the Eminem show. But I really feel like, you have the right options. It's just like, a little J. Cole, a little Kendrick Lamar, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you mix in some of the good with everything else that's new that's going on, it's just like, yeah, we needed a little more of that. So I think that's, with the collaborations. But let's not act like these brands are doing it all on their own correctly, because some of the reasons that some collaborations never make it to light, or actually have these super rare limited quantities, is just because of the politics of people, decision makers, not really believing in what people are telling them that they really want. And then at the same time, and then later on they'll try to go in and clone what someone else is making popular, because there's no A&R, you know what I'm saying? Just like
It's like the music business. There you go.
I mean, so like once they see something is hot, then they'll try to do their takedown version of it and try to make their own little mini wave out of it. But it's just like, just go with the authentic, and just do what it takes to continue to make it authentic, and just really collab. But yeah, there's tastemakers are always gonna still keep making waves, and yeah, just make it your own. Find a way to make it your own. That's what we always talk about: is clarity over popularity. Just make it your own. That's what the secret to the collab. Maybe you'll see some collaborations from the Soul Material podcast in the future. We're always up for the challenge and just being creative, and love it when you tell a story. That's all it's all about. Sew it all together. Tell me a story, beginning, middle, and end, about what's going on, other than slapping a colorway on something and just calling it a name because you're thinking it's popular. That's not really what I'm here for. Over here.
And Shark, what you said is definitely key, because with the evolution, all positive with collaborations is that there was once upon a time, maybe 20 years ago, that if you weren't with Nike or trying to get with Nike, you were basically dead in the water. You were trying to get a quote unquote popular or successful collaboration as far as sneakers and in the culture. And so many brands, some I've already mentioned, that have given the love to collaborators, to artists, and so forth. And it's good to see the variety and the diversity now. Of course, me being from DC originally, born and raised, I'm kind of mad that now everybody's rocking the end like they have been on it since forever. And that's a whole another story for another time. But it's good to just see other brands other than what I call the mothership getting love. And that's cool to see, because it's so much more you can do with a whole lot of these models as opposed to what Nike has constructed and done over the years. So it's awesome to see. But there's a lot of stores. Shout out to Social Status. There's so many that are doing things the right way and being consistent with multiple brands. And it's good to see. What I was saying is just, it puts a dent in your wallet. So pick and choose. And as we said before, since the exhibition, be smart. Keep it stress-free, and definitely be sucker-free about it. And don't go into any kind of crazy debt or any kind of craziness trying to keep up with the collabs, because the point is not for you to obtain everything. As Shark just said, is to obtain and have the opportunity to get what you like, and be smart strategic about it.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, when it comes to these the collaborations, it's not about it's the quality over the quantity, like you said, and you want to make sure that you do your homework. And again, it's not about what somebody else likes; it's about finding your attachment to the story. And when it comes to your favorite brands, in your retail stores, some of it's just like you just patronize the business at the same time, and that's how you show love. You just make sure that you do what you like to do with the collaboration. I'm always going to continue to stress that part. I think that's kind of in a nutshell what we wanted to really cover here when it comes to the just where we're at with collaborations, because it's really not going anywhere. In the way that social media kind of works, it's meant for you to collaborate and share and remix and really interact somehow, some way. So that's why I think that the storytelling just evolves, and it's because it's just different ways for you to interact, and some of these artists collaborating on so many different platforms and different mediums. That's kind of how collaboration is cousin to a partnership, and when we talked about college players and NILs, so that's where collaborations are going. Like, look at how these partnerships are forming for these young kids. So it's in their hands to what a collaboration is really going to look like because they own more terms to said collaborations for the future. So I think that's where we're going. So just wanted to stamp that on because the shark said so. All right. So last words from the OG before we wrap up.
I just want to say, as you just eloquently put it, just looking forward to Soul Material getting the opportunity to get some collabs going and getting our signature out there with the different layers of material. So I'm speaking that into existence, and shout out to all of the artists, not just music artists, but all of the real artists who have had the opportunity to get some kind of wealth and to actually be compensated for their art through the culture that we endure and we enjoy so much, man. It's absolutely awesome to see. And the flow will keep going. And with me, I'll just have to be a little bit more strategic about my fatigue in the collaboration game on the sneaker side, definitely.
All right. So another episode in the books from the Soul Material Podcast, the podcast you cheer for. So till next time, it's T Mark the Street Shark.
And the OGEO, peace to you.
Signing off.